In a previous video, I said when we come to Lamborghini, it almost feels like you shouldn't be here. Well, forget I said that because this is becoming my second home. And that's all thanks, or no thanks, to this abandoned Lamborghini Murcielago that I bought for £100,000, which is starting to look a little bit like the mystery machine right now. But I don't know what's more of a mystery. The fact that someone tried to rebuild this engine and then left the head bolts loose, they're literally finger tight, or the fact that someone had wrapped this car when it looks like this underneath. Or the person that cut a hole in the transmission tunnel to access the gear linkage. But either way, we're stuck with this car now, and I'm sure you know the feeling. There's no turning round, which is why we've came to Lamborghini. Back again, so I got some more parts. You alright?
You got me emails to need anything.
Yeah, will do. Wicked, catch you in a bit. We have a lot more parts here, but one thing that we don't have is the oil pump, because it was really expensive and it's not something that people order every day. So we'll get on to what's in this box later and the rest of the engine build, but for now we've got some unfinished business with the interior. Yesterday I took the Murcielago out for its first clean in 7 years, and it's looking a little bit better now, but there's still a long way to go, especially with the interior. There's a lot of green in there. And it stinks. Let's do it. It might not come as a surprise to you that we're going to be getting rid of a lot of the green in this interior, and hopefully rid of a lot of dirt and the smell. The more I work on this car, the more I realise it's almost like a glorified kit car. Everything comes apart so easily, and underneath, well, there's pretty much nothing. But that doesn't change the fact that this is my dream car and always has been, and I cannot wait for the day we turn the key on it. Now remember, we still don't have a working instrument cluster. The place that bought it off told us that someone jumped the battery the wrong way round, which caused the instrument cluster just not to work afterwards. When we took it apart, we found that there was loads of resistors which had burnt out. We got the resistors changed, but still no luck. No! There needs to be something else which needs to be tested on this board, I think. But then I found something. Right, we've just found something, and if this is it, then, well, let me explain. Okay, right, I'm just about to take this lower part of the dash off. We'll get onto the big hole cut in the transmission tunnel in a minute, but I just took this off and found another fuse box in here, and on the back it's got a diagram, and would you look at that? It's got the instrument cluster there, fuse number 15. If that is blown and it actually works,
you need to check it.
Know,
check it now. Go on, do it. It's even got a little puller in there.
Which one is it? That's the horn at the bottom.
It doesn't look like it's ever been touched.
Oh my god! Do you know if this is it? I'm going to be absolutely buzzing, because then I feel like it could. Oh,
it would blow it as
blown.
well. You know, it would.
It would have blown it.
Would have blown it. Yeah, surely.
Please be blown. Please be blown. Please be blown.
Does it look brand new?
It's not blown. The story continues with the instrument cluster, but now my attention is drawn to this. So here we can see the complete hole that was cut to access the gear linkage on the gearbox, and it looks as if they went to cut a hole down here to start with and then maybe bottled it and then instead did one there. And a lot of you guys mentioned in the last video that Hoovies from Hoovies Garage did the same thing to his Murcielago to access the gear linkage to avoid taking the whole engine and transmission out to get to it. Whether that makes it okay or not, I'll let you guys decide that. For now, I've got the rest of the interior to strip out, and I'm going to be taking out pretty much everything apart from the black leather parts. This has also given me a chance to give everything a bit of a clean and a wipe down. Oh, look. It smells fresh as well, that leather cleaner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is a hell of a lot of green leather. Well, stuff that was green leather, that is absolutely disgusting. And just check out the interior. There's really not much to it with these Murcielagos. There's not even that much wiring under here. Normally you'd see a lot of sound deadening underneath carpets, and well, there's absolutely none. There's nothing to this car. It really is difficult to work out why these Lamborghinis are so expensive, especially when you see things like this. Check out this indicator here. If I put a bit of wrap over this, you can see almost as clear as day the Ford logo on there. Now you're not gonna believe this. If I wanted to buy one of those indicators from Lamborghini, it would cost me £181.28 each. Those indicators are actually off a Mark 1 Ford Focus, and on eBay they are £6.90 for a pair. So there is so many different ways we can save money when rebuilding this thing. Unfortunately, that's not the case for the engine. There's so many vital components we need to keep this running in top tip shape, just like your body. Which is why I've been drinking Y-Food, today's sponsor of the video. So this is the bottom of the engine, and the next thing to go on the bottom is the sump. But in between the sump and the crankcase is a gasket. But check this out. Lamborghini, for the sump gasket, want £130.13, and that's just for a paper gasket. Now a healthy alternative to that, gasket paper, for £14.99, we could get a full roll of gasket paper. And out of that gasket paper, we have created £130 worth of sump gasket. £14.99 for a nice healthy alternative to £130 worth of sump gasket.
That's amazing.
And that's just like Y-Food is a healthy alternative to me grabbing some junk food or something that's not quite good for me at lunchtime. And that is because there's so much good stuff in this. Inside one of these shakes, there's 26 vitamins and minerals. It's high in fiber, high in protein, it's lactose-free, it's gluten-free, and there's no added sugar. There's also vegan-friendly options, and just like the gasket paper on the sump, this bottle is 100% recyclable. On top of that, there's loads of different flavors to choose from. Now, this isn't a diet drink or a protein shake, it's simply a meal replacement drink. And if you're constantly on the go like me, then it's perfect for us. So you can grab a taster pack today by clicking the link in the description box below, and with help from this banner appearing underneath you right now, you're going to save yourself a nice bit of cash as well. Thanks, Y-Food. As good as the self-made gasket may be, we can't install it just yet, but I'll explain why after we've done a bit more to the engine. First job is to flip it the right way up. Then we can apply some assembly paste to these parts which house the gears for some of the timing chain. Now my dad isn't here today, so it looks like I'm on my own, so I'm hoping that this goes right. Luckily the 3 gears that we've got on here at the minute are not timed, so it doesn't matter where the chain sits on these, it's not going to affect the timing of the engine. The 2 gears on top are held in by a little plate and then a circlip, and then there's all the chain guides to go on. In the manual there's actually no torque figures for any of these. It literally just says fit them. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Now this is the part that keeps the chain tight. As Lamborghini call it, a chain tightener. This thing is hydraulic and it works with the oil pressure. And this piston pushes out against the chain guide, keeping this chain nice and tight so it doesn't rattle when the car's running. And as it mentions in the manual, I've just got to fit it about here. So it's all looking good so far without my dad. Next up, it's the upper chain guides, which are going to guide the chains on the head of the engine. And then once they're in, there's another chain on the bottom, which should go to the oil pump, which we'll get onto. And now you can see me putting on the chain for the left side of the head, and then of course the right side of the head. These ones are timed, so we need to be careful we put these on right. And now I'm about to give you some bad news, because, well, this is literally it. We can't go any further than this, thanks to the part that's over there on the bench. So this is the oil pump, and the person who tried to rebuild the engine also tried to rebuild the oil pump, and it went about as equally as well, if that makes sense. So when we stripped this thing apart, because it was stiff, there was a key in there, and there was actually one missing out of there. He put a smaller one in, and that didn't fill us with much confidence with the rest of the build that he's done. The thing is, when I spoke to Lamborghini, they don't have, or they won't give us, an exploded diagram of an oil pump so we know what parts go where. They just sell it as a complete unit. There's part of it just gone. I had to buy it. I'm not risking it, because if we do risk it and the oil pump goes, it's one of the most vital parts of the engine. A lot of you said I could get one of these keys made, and that is a possibility, but as I said, we're not sure if everything else is okay. So brace yourselves. A new oil pump cost me £2,493.75 plus that, and it gets worse. It's not going to be here until the 13th of December 2022. Now on a normal engine you might be able to assemble the rest of it without an oil pump, but on the Murcielago one you need the oil pump to carry on from this point, and let me explain why. So if I wanted to put the cylinder heads on top of the crankcase in here and here, first off I need a head gasket, and the head gasket sits here. All good. But there's one thing missing, and that's this casing right here. And the head gasket and the head actually sit on this casing. And I'll demonstrate that now. Now the casing is fitted, you can see the head gasket is sitting on top of the casing. But as a coincidence to that, we can no longer get to the oil pump. It's completely blocked off, which means in order for us to fit the oil pump, this casing can't be on, which in turn means we can't fit the heads because the casing needs to come off to fit the new oil pump. And once the oil pump's on, like this, we can then put the casing on and then rest the 2 cylinder heads on top of the casing. Hopefully that explains it. But that's not going to stop me to continue work on the body of the car. And I kind of wish I'd have just stopped there. Now I'm removing both front arch linings so I can access the front bumper. Once I've got these off, I can open the bonnet to get to the rest of the bolts for the bumper and then remove it away from the car, and we'll get back onto this later. For now, my attention is drawn to the headlights. In one of them, a spider is trapped, and both of the lenses look really dull, and inside where it's supposed to be black seems to be sun-dyed white. So we're going to sort this. As I've done with so many cars, we're going to split the headlight lens to access the center of the headlight. Once we've got it open, we can polish the headlight lens and paint the inside of the headlights. I use the same technique as every time before I've done this job. Loads of heat and then break the seal. Only thing is, we didn't realise the Murcielago headlights have glass lenses. Well, at least we can paint it now.
I've got a positive, you can get the spider out now.
Let's see how much a lens is. Oh no, what if you can't buy a lens?
Complete unit for 23.
Liam's just finding how much a headlight's cost. Is it bad? Is it bad?
Oh my god!
No way! Is it bad?
Let me see.
Is it bad?
Let me see.
I'll let Chris see the reaction.
You're not going to be happy. Let's put it that way.
Okay, let me see.
Forget the engine. You've made a big mistake.
Let's see. Oh! £10,000, and we was just attacking it.
£10,000.
We was just attacking it with a screwdriver. It's 10 grand for a whole headlight assembler. Hopefully, we don't have to buy a full headlight assembly, and we can just get the lens. But if we can't, we're 10 grand down. This is actually a glass lens, and that's why it's cracked, because there's no flex in it at all.
Are these the same as an LP640?
Yes, they are the same as an LP640.
I've just found your pair of lenses for £300 on eBay.
Serious there?
Oh, I'm not joking.
£300?
£299.
And that's why Liam got an Audi S3. Yes, Liam, we've saved the day. We can just smash these off. Wow, okay.
Let's just double check.
Let's double check and then we'll be back. Sometimes it's better to just leave the car as it is. I mean, that wasn't even damaged. I was trying to improve it. I made it worse. And it's cost me more money. It's just what happens. It's going to happen. We're playing with fire effectively with the Murcielago, but this is a saviour for £300 for new lenses. It means we could be a little bit rough with the other one now.
Can I just say, if we watched a YouTube video on how to do it first, because then we would have known they were glass and not to stab them with screwdrivers.
Yeah, that's it. But we just do it with confidence, you know, like...
I know, yeah, we've done it so many times.
I've done Lupo headlights.
They don't even feel like glass either.
No.
They literally feel like
Who would have thought there's glass? Who would have thought? After everything on this car is fiberglass, who would have glass?
You know, we want to do weight saving. And then
Right, so I'm buying that. £300. After all of that, I didn't even get a chance to tell you what I've taken off the front bumper, but we'll get to it after this disaster with the headlight. But remember, if you want to be the first person to turn the key on the Murcielago, you can do by grabbing one of the Save the Manual tees, which are right here. We're going to be picking one of you who buys one of these to come down and do the first turn of the key when we finally get the engine back in, if this disaster doesn't end right here. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Didn't pull the... Accident at work.
You're like a drug